Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stuart.
And this is David.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
This was my shuffle off to Buffalo.
For the last few days, we've been working on three kinds of groups: the chorus lines and the chorus stories that you are going to see, which we're sharing with you this afternoon, and also the sort of improvised stories that we've been performing and improvising here, and
this is the off-Broadway, off-Broadway premiere today of scenes that we're working on scenes from some well-known plays, some not well-known plays, and some short scenes and vignettes.
And the first scene is from Moon Over Buffalo by Ken Ludwig. And it's with Alan and Shirley playing George and Charlotte. And all you need to know is that this is a dressing room. And here is a mirror. And it's a theatre. And there's a performance of Cyrano de Bergerac going on. And these two great actors have just finished this tremendous performance and are coming in to take off their makeup and get into their street clothes. Moon Over Buffalo.
Oh, am I getting old, Charlotte?
Oh no, George, you're just falling apart.
No wonder they didn't want me for the Pimpernel movie.
Us. They didn't want us.
It would have put us right back on top. George and Charlotte Hay in the new Frank Capra production of The Twilight of the Scarlet Pimpernel.
Oh, there will be other movies.
We were this close, Charlotte. I could taste it. I mean, Frank Capra directing The Twilight of the Scarlet Pimpernel.
Oh, I can see it all now. Mr. Pimpernel goes to Washington.
Exactly.
Oh, sit down, dear. I'll take care of it for you.
You do realize they started filming yesterday? At this very moment, the cameras are rolling, and Ronald Coleman is wearing my tights.
George, let them have their Ronald Coleman and their Greer Garson. Who gives a damn?
You're right.
I'm sure Miss Garson is going to do a very adequate job. If that's what they want.
I agree entirely.
Stupid little bitch. You know, I met her once, did I tell you? She was playing Pride and Prejudice, and I was filming next door in Apache Woman. She was romancing Laurence Olivier, and I was cutting up the chicken and offering it with big chief chuck-a-tongue. Are you okay, George?
Oh, I'm better. Don't stop.
George? Can I ask you a question? Did you sleep with Eileen?
Charlotte! How can you say such a thing?
I saw how you look at her.
She's a pretty girl. I'm not dead.
Huh, not yet. And I know just when it happened. You were in the middle of this big, huge fight.
And whose fault was that?
Well, it was yours, of course. You told me I was the world's largest living ingenue.
I merely mentioned that a woman of your age should not try to play St. John. It's like watching Eleanor Roosevelt play Peter Pan.
I admire Eleanor Roosevelt.
So do I, but I don't want to see her fly out the window.
You're changing the subject.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Eileen barely knows that I exist.
Oh, please. You walk in the room and she starts to glow. I could use her as a reading lamp.
You're off your rocker. It's extraordinary. It's unkind.
George, I could believe things if you would just tell me the truth. Did you sleep with her or didn't you? Yes or no?
No! All right. The answer is no.
Really?
It's killing you about the movie, isn't it?
Oh, don't be silly. That has nothing to do with it.
Scarlet Pimpernel. Scarlet
Oh, cut it
Pimpernel.
out. Cut it out.
Greer Garson.
Don't be an idiot.
I'm sure it's slaying you that you're stuck out here in Siberia while she is in Hollywood swaying around the set like the Queen of Sheba.
Oh, George. George.
I'm sure you had fantastic visions being slobbered over by legions of toadies powdering your ears.
George, I'm sorry.
Well, it's too late now, isn't it? You've hurt my feelings.
I saw that.
So what?
You're a faker.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Faker.
Charlotte, how can you doubt my feelings?
In this next short play called Chautauqua, a detective arrives at the home of a lady in the town with a question.
So, Mrs. Colby, your husband has been gone for over 2 weeks now. Why haven't you notified the police?
Well, Detective Brown, my husband was a very private person.
But you don't seem to be concerned about his whereabouts.
Well, of course I'm concerned, but this is not at all unusual for Walter. Once he walked out on us in the middle of Christmas dinner, and he called us 3 days later from British Columbia. He was trying to draw the Mounties.
Well, I think that maybe today's situation is a little bit more serious.
Well, I guess so.
We've spoken to your neighbors over there, and they said that particular night that he disappeared, there was quite a disturbance over here. There was yelling.
Really? Here? How funny.
Yes, they said there was a lot of shouting and yelling, and like somebody was in argument.
Oh, well, the shouting. I can explain that. You see, Walter was getting a little hard of hearing. And I raised my voice a tad when I was asking him what kind of topping he wanted on his ice cream.
Well, we checked a little bit on your credit cards, and we noticed that over the past 2 weeks from Home Depot that you had purchased 40 sacks of concrete.
40 sacks. That sounds about right.
Well, I must admit, on the face of it, that's a lot of cement.
Well, yes, but I can explain that. You see, I make bird baths as a hobby.
Bird baths?
Yes, bird baths. I design my own bird bath molds. I personally stir up the cement and pour it and let it set, and then voila.
I walked outside and I didn't notice any bird baths.
Well, I give them all away to friends. You see, for me, the joy is in the creation.
But I did notice behind the garage that there was a plot of freshly laid concrete about 3 feet by 6 feet.
Well, I can explain that. That's all the excess cement. The amount of false starts in bird bath construction.
No, I certainly wouldn't You know, a lot of this is looking for discrepancies. For example, behind the couch there, I noticed there is a very large, heavy shovel.
Yes, there is.
Is it possible that this is the place where you would put all your large garden tools?
No, not for the most part, but I use that shovel to clean away the cobwebs.
Well, I would imagine usually a person would use a broom.
Well, most people would.
But I have observed that generally you keep a very tidy house, very clean.
Thank you.
Well, which leads me to see over here, right in the middle of the floor, there is a spot that is very conspicuous.
Oh, there is. Is there?
Yes, right there. And it looks suspiciously like dried blood.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
But I take it it's not.
My stars, no. It's chocolate.
Chocolate?
Yes. We had a box of Godiva chocolates lying around the house for the longest time. And then one day, about 2 weeks ago, I got into it, and I couldn't stop. And I think I must have dropped some praline crunch on the floor. I was wondering what happened to it.
Well, I hate to say this, but that doesn't look like Godiva chocolate.
Oh, but it is. Look.
Oh.
It still has that rich, chocolatey, decadent taste. Would you like some?
No, thank you. But when I say that it doesn't look like Godiva chocolate, I think it looks more like Nestle.
I beg your pardon.
This has a decidedly processed look. It's smooth and, well, it just doesn't look like Godiva.
Well, you've caught me, detective. I should have known better than to try to hoodwink you. Yes, it's a Kit Kat bar. My secret is out. You see, I eat commercial candy on the slide.
Well, Mrs. Colby, I think the secret is safe right here. It's not going to go beyond these walls.
Oh, thank you, Detective Brown. You're a man of rare delicacy and perception.
Why, thank you very much. But I think it might be a good thing if you would come with me and we can continue this conversation downtown. I have some Godiva chocolate in the car, and we can both have some. Would you join me?